and he broke into her house and tried to kill her. So like anyone would, I said, hello? I worked 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday and was scheduled 9 a.m., 7 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't like those hours. He then kept offering for me to sit on his lap. Who turns around and starts jogging? Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica Layla. So, in case you're new here and you're like, what's going on? It's spooky month, and we're doing spooky things. So, this entire month, I've dedicated my channel to spooky content, and why should today be any different? So far this month, we've posted quite a few spooky things. We've read some creepypasta, some creepy Reddit stories, but the theme of these things is that they've all been fictional. So today, I thought it would be fun to read some true creepy real-life experiences, because nothing is creepier in life than actual people. And we're gonna be checking out a couple different subreddits to spice things up. So hopefully everybody's having a great fall so far. The cold weather hasn't really hit us yet, but that's whenever. Settle in, get comfortable, and let's just dive right in with the first post. So this comes from CatLady1995. Fine, keep your rent money. I'm a property manager and 1 year postpartum, so I returned to my company part-time. This is fun because I get to float around to different apartment communities who need help and just help where needed. In September, I helped out a property about an hour from my house. It's a bit of a drive, but fairly small property with relatively no big problems, so easy money for the day. I'm covering for a manager out on vacation, and of course, it's the dreaded 6th of the month. This means I'm handing out late letters and making calls, unfortunately. Definitely not my favorite part of the job, but it is necessary. The one thing I hate about floating is the residents don't know me well, so I'm delivering late letters and calling, and they don't even know me. Again, not my favorite part of the job, but has to be done. So, here we go. I had about 10 late letters to deliver. All was going normal and fine. Some people answer the door and say, yep, sorry, I'll have it paid on such and such date. Another person didn't answer, so I left info on door, but they flipped me off as I was walking away. That's nice of them. All pretty normal stuff that comes with the job. I get down to about the 7th or 8th person. I walk up to this apartment, and I can tell from the outside the occupants have absolutely destroyed this home. I smelled cigarettes, cat urine, and general mustiness before I even knocked. All blinds were broken, blankets up in the window, all the works. I get up to the door, do my normal quick knock, wait about 5 seconds, and was ready to post notice to door. Right as I was folding it up to put between the door partly swings open. A gentleman wearing just his boxers and cigarette hanging out of his mouth opens the door, but doesn't unlatch the security lock, so the door's not open all the way. What do you want? He says as he's giving me a death glare, but also looking me up and down inappropriately at the same time. Ew. I explained I was just here to deliver the late letters, and that I would be on my way now. As I'm explaining this, I notice he keeps looking over his shoulder, as if someone is standing next to him behind the door. I find this odd, as if someone is hiding from me. Especially because this gentleman won't open the door all the way. I hear some whispering, and now I'm sure he is communicating with someone. Not doing that. The gentleman in the door asks me to wait and says he has things in his apartment that he needs looked at. I explained I was just there for the letters, but that he can send photos into the office and that I would get work orders in. He begins complaining about our maintenance team and states he really wants someone to take a look in person. At this point, I'm feeling really uneasy. Typically, I would enter and help, no problem. But between the looks this guy was giving me and creepy who knows who behind the door, I'm just not feeling safe at this point. I defer again, trying to make myself sound unimportant and say I'm just a floating person. I can't do anything without manager approval when she gets back, so really, there is no point. At this point, something catches my eye upstairs. I see a window blind move. I notice 2 additional guys upstairs who were both staring down at me. I tell the gentleman that I won't be entering without maintenance or the property manager present due to it being an ongoing maintenance concern, and there not being much I can personally do. He looks annoyed and finally slams the door in my face. I get back to the office and grab the maintenance supervisor for the property to chat things over regarding this encounter. The maintenance supervisor explained to me that there used to be an old man who lived in that apartment, but then his son took over the lease after he died. He told me he's noticed a lot of strange activity and individuals around that home since the dad died. He hasn't personally witnessed anything illegal yet, so he's just let it go. He explained the plan was to make them move when the contract is over due to condition of the home alone anyways. While I cannot prove something horrible was going to happen if I entered the premises, this is by far the creepiest encounter I have had in property management in 7 years. Whatever was happening in this house, I mean, if you look upstairs and you see multiple people staring down at you, why would you go in there? Always trust your gut. This next one comes from 𝘚𝘜𝘗𝘓72301. Love the username. Dad's friend. When I was about 15, 8 years ago, I had a few eerie encounters with my dad's friend. My dad was abusive growing up and on drugs pretty heavily. My dad was doing some renovations on our back porch and had his friend helping him out. The first time I met him, his vibes were immediately off-putting. He had a little boy about 5 years of age. His wife stayed home a lot and he didn't work much. After meeting me, he kept asking my dad if I could babysit his son so his wife and him could go out on a date night. I reluctantly agreed after being asked more than a few times. The night of babysitting his son, everything was fine until he returned home. He sat on his couch and asked me about the night. He then kept offering for me to sit on his lap. I kept declining. I lived a few blocks away, so I decided to walk home. He kept attempting to find more ways to get me to stay. He asked if I wanted to stay and play with his son, but I grew more uncomfortable. I finally walked home and told my dad about it. He brushed it off. He also tried to constantly hug me, and one time he sat next to me on my couch while he came over and tried to put his hand on my leg. His friend continued to come over to help my dad on his renovations. He started to make comments about how I am mature for my age and have a womanly figure. He'd constantly stare at me and began to stop by more frequently. I lived in a small town that was pretty safe. The town graveyard was huge and had a lot of trails. It was also literally in my backyard behind my fence line. I'd walk my 𝘎𝘌𝘈𝘚 there every day. He lived right across the street from the entrance of the graveyard. One day, as usual, I was walking my dog. I usually put in my earbuds and listen to music. A particular part of the trail was secluded with trees and pretty hidden. I was always observant and paranoid, so I'd frequently check my surroundings. As I was walking through the secluded area, his truck was slowly creeping behind me. I took my earbuds out and quickened my pace. He sped up, coming to a stop and rolling down his window. He then proceeded to tell me that he was going to the store and he could take me home afterwards if I went with him. He also mentioned that he knows my dad, so I was safe. I told him that I was headed home and didn't need a ride. He was persistent and kept saying that my little dog was tired from walking and it'd be a quick stop to the store, which was all the way on the other side of town. After a while, he was agitated that I said no and finally drove off. I heard a few months later that he went to jail for beating his wife with a hammer and strangling her. She apparently divorced him, and he broke into her house and tried to kill her. My dad believed me about everything that happened, and he was so upset. He finally cut him off. I haven't seen the guy since. I still think about it from time to time, and I'm grateful that I wasn't harmed by him. If you got a kid, and they tell you about something that someone did that you know that made them uncomfortable, take them seriously. I don't get it. Drug addict or not, you should take things that your kid is saying seriously. Telling her to sit on his lap, like, ew. So we're gonna switch to a different subreddit. I don't know how many stories we're gonna fit tonight, but we're gonna try and fit a few. So the next one is Glitch in the Matrix. Eyewitness events that cannot be explained with critical thinking. And we've all had our glitch in the Matrix moment. This one comes from Friendship Entire 6364. Boyfriend and I lost an entire day. In 2014, I was living with my then boyfriend and working debt collections for a pretty well-known company. I hated the job and had begun feeling like my day-to-day life was really mundane. Because we had access to people's sensitive information, full social security numbers, addresses, etc., we weren't allowed to even bring our phones into the building. Once a month, they would put us on required overtime when we were working on accounts that were getting ready to go into the next phase of collections. I worked 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday and was scheduled 9 a.m. 7 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't like those hours. I got home from work Monday night and watched Netflix with my boyfriend until I fell asleep. Woke up the next day to pee, and when I checked the time, it was 8:13. I assumed I forgot to set an alarm, freaked out for a minute, and rushed to get ready for work. I pulled into the parking lot at 8:56 and was feeling pretty good about still making it to work on time. As I was clocking in, my coworker Anna stopped me and asked, "Where were you yesterday?" I said, here? She insisted I wasn't, which I thought was really weird, but I just brushed it off, clocked in, and went to my desk. Anna and I were pretty close as far as coworkers go. We complained about the job throughout the workday and texted/engaged with each other on social media outside of work daily. About 20 minutes into my shift, I glanced at the calendar on my computer and it was showing it was Wednesday. I genuinely thought Anna was playing a weird prank on me and had messed with my computer settings since she asked where I was when she knew full well I was there yesterday. On my lunch break, I went out to my car as I did every shift. When I turned my phone on, it also said it was Wednesday. I started panicking and called my boyfriend. He worked second shift and hadn't yet gone into work, but looked at his phone and had the same realization and also started freaking out. Now, the really weird thing is, no one in either of our lives seemed to notice except Anna. I wasn't super hungry or thirsty, as I assume I would be if I hadn't consumed anything for an entire day. We both were heavy smokers at the time, but neither of us woke up feeling like we really needed a cigarette. We lived with my boyfriend's two brothers, and we had two dogs. One was an elderly dog, and the other was just a puppy, so they both required pretty frequent trips outside. Our room was in the basement, and we had a baby gate at the top of the stairs to keep them from roaming the house while we were sleeping. Neither of the dogs had an accident in our room, nor did they eat as though they hadn't been fed in over 24 hours. I asked both of his brothers, and they hadn't let the dogs out or fed them Tuesday. I am really close with my mom, and we talk on the phone on my way to and from work every day, yet she didn't mention anything about not talking to me for an entire day. Neither of us were written up for no call, no show a shift, or even spoken to my management about the missing shift. Neither of us had any missed calls or texts from Tuesday. To this day, I have no reasonable explanation for what happened that caused us to lose an entire day. If I had been living alone, I would have chalked it up to somehow being so exhausted, or maybe having a weird 24-hour illness or something that made me sleep through an entire day. But the fact that both of us experienced the same thing with no consequences made it even weirder. I think about this regularly, and no one I've spoken to about it can come up with anything plausible either. It feels as though we went to sleep Monday, ceased to exist in this reality on Tuesday, and then resumed normal life on Wednesday. That is weird, and it's kind of hard to know, because sometimes, the thing is, people sit there and they don't realize that your stupid little brain can trick you into thinking a lot of things that aren't true. There's all kinds of weird phenomena and stuff I think that happen in our heads that we're not even aware of on a daily basis. And so sometimes I think things like this happen and it actually is in our heads, but that is really interesting and really weird. So what say we read one last creepy one for the night? Okay, so we're gonna read one last one from Paranormal Encounters. Okay, this one is kind of funny. Wish I could give credit to the original poster, but they deleted it. Paranormal mozzarella sticks. I'm aware at first glance the title sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I had what could be a paranormal experience when I was trying to cook some good old cheese sticks. I've tried so hard to make sense of how my mozzarella sticks flew across my entire kitchen, but I literally can't. I was in my kitchen and had a bag of frozen mozzarella sticks in my hand, ready to cook. All of a sudden, I really needed a wee, so I turned around and started jogging into my hallway. Who turns around and starts jogging? As I turned around, I gently threw the bag of mozzarella sticks onto my side counter, which was against a wall, and as I was walking into the hallway in my peripheral, I saw the bag hit the back wall and stop. So at this point, the bag had stopped moving completely from what I saw. As I got to my stairs, I jogged about halfway up from the kitchen to where I was on the stairs. It was about an 8-second walk, and I heard a massive bang, like something had hit the floor or my kitchen counter door had been slammed. I was home alone, and I froze on the stairs. I stood there for a good 20 seconds looking back down the stairs, as at this point I thought someone was in my house. I slowly started making my way back down the stairs and peeked over the banister in through the hallway door into the kitchen, and I couldn't see anything at first. So like anyone would, I said, "Hello?" and really slowly walked back into the hallway and up to the kitchen, and when I got to the door, I froze. My mozzarella sticks, half in the packet, half on the floor, somewhere were on the other side of my kitchen from where they landed against the wall, all over the floor. From where they were, I would say they landed a good 3 to 4 meters away. I literally froze in the doorway and stared at them on the floor for a good 2 minutes, and the weirdest thing was that there was not a single stick left on the counter or the floor nearby. My first thought was, oh, they just rolled off because they are tube-shaped. But how does the entire packet end up 4 meters away, and how have they fallen out of the bag all over as the hole in the top was just big enough to fit 3 fingers in to grab a stick? The bang I heard sounded like someone volleyed them at the opposite wall, and these are cheese sticks, so they aren't exactly made concrete. I know this sounds so stupid and insane, but I literally couldn't make sense of how that was possible. It may be worth noting, a couple of months previously, my stepdad passed away, so at the time once I stopped staring at the packet on the floor, I said, "Very funny, Jim," referring to my stepdad being the one who threw the sticks. I think I said this so to find light in a situation where I nearly started crying because my food literally made airtime. Please let me know what you guys think, or can someone explain the physics behind my flying cheese sticks? It's not funny, but it also is. I have no explanation for your cheese sticks, but I'm wondering if maybe just, like, gravity did something tricky. Or maybe it was Jim. Who knows? Well, I think that's gonna do it for us tonight. And, I'm trying to implement every single post and give full credit for every single thing I read, so you can find everything down below in the description and in the comment section if you want to check out these subreddits and these stories yourself. So thank you all so much for watching, hopefully you all enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you all here next time.